some of the children were dying. So I was asking, why were the children dying? And she said that because the God was killing the children, or taking the children, not killing, I said, but taking the children away, meaning ending their life in this existence. So I'm like, why would the gods end their lives? And she's telling me because every time the God wanted to use his children as the mouthpiece or the priest that he wants to partner them, the father wasn't allowing it. And if the father wasn't allowing it, then the God would take it. But instantly, I got an answer. The reason why the God was taking the children away is because the God was the one giving the children to the father. Why is the God giving the children? Because every time they drank from the river, every time they drank from the water, every activity they did, the water was looking through the village and trying to find who is worthy enough to be his priest. So he chose her parents as those that are worthy enough because they understood the heart of the parent. I'm just getting it. They just telling me this. They understood the heart of the parents. So the parents was the one that actually had a good heart enough to have bear children that would become priests unto the God. So the God gave the gift as children, and the God took the gift back. But what was actually happening was that it was a cycle of the children coming back. The same children that the gods were taking, the God, particular God, Nana Obraya Bona, was taken away. It's the same children that the God was bringing back. But you wouldn't know because you didn't understand that intelligence. So there were a lot of people in the village, but this family is the only family that was chosen to be the priest for Nana, which means that there's a uniqueness about this particular family. Everybody is unique, but there's a particular thing about her family that allowed the God to want to use. Wow. Inti. But my number can there. Me feel there. I couldn't nana otum oyi mbana na o mamba no wu ana otum kun ban there. O che ona as no de mbana ma won. As I met is say.
Me fa na I dem. I dey hwehwa wo. Na akonsumi mu. Oh, the mean she am fancy so that we are come. Oh. So that buam. Echima ma me hwehwe yefu nya. Ndi se me saka yefu se me nya ba. Be the way the better was. So the madness or the mo. Me so one saka se one fan ko be ode.
Oh, be
jinadi. The identity.
I got it right. At least I'm not vanishing now, but at least I hear them when they speak. So just as I was explaining, our father was telling us that when you come around and you go to the God or the water and say that I'm having difficulties in having children, the God will literally give you the child. And what most people do is that they tell the God that I will bring the child as a thanksgiving. Hence the story that was copied in Samuel, saying that Samuel, the God gave the child to the parents of Samuel and told Hannah that you have to bring the child back to the priest to come and serve. It's the same thing. Listen, they've lied to us for a long time. So the God that gave the gift of the child demanded that the child comes back. And it makes sense because a God cannot kill a child if the God didn't give the child as a gift. So one God cannot go to another land and go and kill their children if he didn't give the gift to their children. As America in there, so bosuma amfa ebana amon dam bosu no ntumi nyije ebana mfi wonsem. Che da bosuma ode bana mo dam no tibia. Ti dem vende be sie o he na benyin o he. Se benyin ma oba be sie yintum kede baba mbaji eyin na bano. Bosuma o ma oba no ona na oje.
O so jinade. Na wo ya na asade nsuma ne so a. On je mfa ma. O se first no obi o hia yefun obekọ konfo bi o obeye duru na ma no obewo ba won fa fin kaniti no wa ni tin rasta de otoso mienu sa de otoso miensa no na first wokọ no wa ya amane nyina wo boso na no de ma ne pe no de apaso akaniti na wa atwitwa na afedi agene na ase asemiala ni ho na so ya sa de ne ma ne se won kwankoye ne na ase ama ne dia obewudu won nyina be basa
aware mpo munye bi
mbano aware mpo won anu ntina mesiafo bebre wo ho meyifo so won nya aware mesiafo won nya dwuma papa nye won ye because echiwa azan oida o kan
e kan na se obekọ no bi be ka se ko papa fie akonyu ada wa papa fie no eno na e hausa fa won sakọ no wa pamfa mo mpai ma o papa ewu a de odi o papa de o de nsan be ko no de abo mpai ya no na na solinti sa no ma no pi wonye omo se hwi ni wiase nanso tumi ne de e wo ho
sister bi wo guntrase wara
sister bi ba mi nche wa Africa ne mi on mon keto nyina obi a wo otika so a awale mpo be man si ne pe enka se me no betena na bi atisa wo ba no wo kire ne se honko okọ no kwọ ne maami ama nto ne maami nyina bae na se no kware no wokọ yeji no kwọ wo ne nkwala no ho nke ese nke okọ no kwọ edai okọ ya ama ne no yeji no wankọ papa no nso ewu ono so nani ohun fom papa nto ese oja ne bla kwan no ne ba no kọ no wokọ ya de no ade ma bofra no ebi obeda no be hu se be ma no wa beda wo nche boso no beda nipa no ne wa beda woni subete no obi anda wo nche ne chese saade ne na eden pam awale no obi obenya be ma obetimi aye no wedding fine na so be kwakwada na dwo no be ma na beda ntem
ntinzama osi intasin yi wono ntina asofu no won ho wase oyebon obonsem bi na oyedem na yem break dem kat yem break
na bi won so se boso na ha no a won se wakwase bi a wo bompa na fa esi no so no de fom no o prepare no mu fom ni ade pi abosom
bebre na abosom
bebre abosom
antina asofu wontum ntu nkokra because ebi a ekwacha apode ma be 10 times simple na bibia obobompa bi obobofo abibia obobompa bi obobofo ontum. Listen, I'm getting a very profound knowledge here. I know these things, but when I actually come to the villages and it gets confirmed, it's sweet. So what is happening is that we had a conversation and it came to this. I'm trying to summarize it. What happened is that I was trying to understand why the God. No, I actually made a statement that one God that gives a gift cannot be overpowered by another God to say that I'm taking that gift that I've given. So this explains why the God that actually gives the gifts is the only God that has the power to take that gift, nobody else. And I brought in the stories of Samuel and all of that. So she was telling me that this is why most people don't get married, most women are not getting married. Most men are not doing well in life. Most people are not actually advancing in life. The reason is that most of the children born in Africa, or most of us black people, not just Africa, across the place, most of us are spirit babies. When I say spirit babies, it's not a negative thing. It's just that we came into this dimension, like I always teach you. Every person on the face of this earth came through a gate. Either you come through a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's why we have the names Kwesi, Ajo, Abene, and all of that. So when you come through that gate, that particular God is in charge of you. That particular God is the one that protects you. So what was happening is that a lot of parents, a lot of fathers, a lot of our ancestors went to these gods and have negotiations with them, conversation with them that I'm barren, I'm not having child, I'm not giving birth. Can you bless me with a child? And when they got blessed with these children, they never went back to give thanks. They never went back. They forgot to even go back. When it happens like that, the God literally pursues you and ensures that the right thing that needs to be done has to be done. So even when you are single in your house, the God will literally transform and become a man and come and sleep in the bed with you. And you think that I'm having a dream. I had sex. It's actually not a dream. The God is literally there and has manifested into a man and is doing those activities with you only because the necessary rituals and the thanksgivings that were supposed to be done were not done. So the God is demanding it. Sometimes you can even marry and the God will come and sleep in the middle of you, or manifest into a man. So when the God is sleeping in the middle of you, the husband and the wife will not be attracted to each other anymore. They won't be able to explain it, but they will just not have an attraction for each other. So these are some of the things that actually goes on behind the scenes. And these were the things that the pastors do not have understanding to. So when you go and see a pastor and the pastor he chances upon this revelation, the pastor goes like, oh, the devil is after your marriage. The devil is, it's not actually any devil that is after anything. It is where your parents went to. It is the things that your parents did. It's the covenants that your parents went into. That is what is actually hunting you. And it's not hunting you to destroy you. All that the power is saying that you have to come back and pay your dues, pay your price, do the things, the negotiations that you went into. You have to come back home and come and do them. So now it's actually dawning on me that most of the things that you see, and Mommy actually said that when you go to these churches and there are deliverances and all of that going on, you see the people lying on the floor, rolling and all of that. It's nothing. It's just the gods that have showed up. The reason why the God shows up is that they're trying to teach you a lesson that there is something spiritual happening, that you have to go to your background. So in our tradition, you go to the house and maybe your father would pour libation on your behalf to actually appease the gods for whatever is going on. If your father is dead, maybe your father's brother or something like that. But this is actually what is going on. It's not a demon that is possessed you. It's not a demon that is, it's literally the covenant that our parents went that is not being honored. That is why these gods actually show up. And someone can know me a drupal. God me they say, Nkofo bebre, what the mean some yasa? Obi aron ko chap with them. God na say I go to Nkofo ko chap with them in there. Me here work, me here ba, me here juma, me here sika, me here kwentu, me here the means me. Only time Nkofo bebre o aso them. Enti o chere say yimpe nyantase. Ni hu there oh amambre o wo fie no, na o de yeko ni ekozido. Because the man and the gunsa on home bottle. I tell Obi aron ko chap dem.
Sent Obi wa aban so be kwa bridge. Fine. Obi kwa kodo. Se wo fie saa dey wo ho beti wa ma. Wait. The was sans wa bagana. Obetra wa wondwene ho. Wonti ase. Ejuma bi a wo be ye se wo sika be bo ano no. Be wo na ayabasa. Wa wale sam ayabasa. Wadwuma sam ayabasa. Afianu no say de beba say bia nsa. O de nsa be hyawase. Obehu aba ni bi na manisam ne nyina afi sa nyoma nyoma na ama na wiase aba ne sa. Na mo amamra kwa so se wankasa wo fa so de a wo kwa so mpo se wo fa so a. Oha obi ani wo so. Wo kwa so de nchi hwe. Oha obi ani wo so.
Until I saw that.
David.
So wo kwa so
me west man no. CS fo o ya de a problem kaka me shem me dia mama ba no de akọ
At the bosom this can come.
to collection
So what je?
Now so one why you gribi wo from was say you konfu
say konfu ba ku o friend awa kwa o bantama
wo pinu.
ye nyina ye peni o ba abro we bi o bantama ni biela o be na so biela o kana
Oh, Bantama. I dem confuse penny pa. Ni Bantama. I dem here now.
Ye nyina ye peni
you go trust
I'm do was say I'm do was
station wa krona la won say no
wo do
wo station
I was saying say o mo saying
Sing abrekum. Fet was I.
Oko beba.
I'm from
ya konfo ya yam pushe asọrọfo ye bibi no ma krata ye shem no ye kwa
asọfo no omo na omo gu akonfo no na nisifo no
na so wa ba ye nche so ba ji eduru
oh ye baba ho no ye baba ho no ye baba
omo gu wani ma se hwempese omo koyi common centers omo na omo ye bibia omo tuma ya akonfo na nisifo sa onso ade san na wani an omo
yeah baba no so I'm asking that I mean, she confirmed what I was saying, the fact that the reason why most of these things goes on, like problems in marriages, you have your work, you don't see where your life is going, you don't see where your life is heading, you don't see you've prayed, you've fasted, you've done all these things. Nothing seems to be working. And she gave an instance that even when you want to travel outside your country and there's a God behind you, you can go and you get deported. Because so long as the customs, the rituals hasn't been done, the God would ensure that you don't have it easy in life. Because when you have it easy, how are you ever going to go home? Think about it. When everything is working for you, how would you ever go back and say, I want to pour libation? How would you ever do that? So the reason why they do this, and it's not because they hate you. It's just like a parent in the house. When a parent is disciplining a child, it doesn't mean the parent hates the child. It only means that the parent loves the child and the parent wants the child to do the right thing. And that is basically what is happening here. And sometimes they manifest in so many ways. So it came to a point where she's even saying that there are several times that the pastors, they do things and they have their programs and what have you, and they invite her, they send her an envelope to send her donation, and she sends the donation to the church. So I was like, you're taking the God's money to the church. And we laughed about that. But they're not, the God doesn't mind you going to church, you having your spiritual whatever. They don't care what you do with your life. All that they are asking is that do the necessary things that has to be done. If it's libation, if it's ritual, just do it. Don't do the things they're saying don't do. And just go on with your life. And they are saying this, the chief priest in this whole vicinity is actually few villages from me, or just a village from me. And she's saying every time they invite her to all these churches and they go. And they know that nothing can happen in the church that would overpower them or anything. But yet, when they invite the pastors in, the pastors will be saying that, oh, that is a god, that is a demon, that is the thing. So the pastors will never come to their functions, but they'll go to the pastors' functions. But the pastors will stand publicly and shame the god and insult them and rain all sorts of things on them. But in the evening time, when the night falls, the pastors sneak behind the congregation and come to them and ask them to empower them so that they can actually have their services. Inti yambra ho. Inti asofo no woba abasempa no wobaka.
Sure.
Because we outside was in there. Abosumsum ye abosumsin dey.
Asofo no waba wasam say, "We adwuma yen kwaso."
Abedwuma nso Yankopon no afro na Yankopon no afro there be ya asofo dwuma. Abete Yankopon no nhwo.
Obaje mwai. Nti onipa nso abanso nya kasa yenso ye boano.
Abete oboan because him there ngofu wo kwa aboana. Won bones in the pa.
Yeah.
Onso kwa no otwa yala pa.
Collection number. Collection number. Impese osofu so man yanketira. Fitani so wuma. So kada 2 million na be yegu.
Wow.
Sisia. No hwen say power number. Ne so obo 1 million obi anko. What of him? Ya osofu bi ba.
Oyele ba.
Hey.
Oyele ba ko 5 million, 4 million.
Oye, osofu bi fi akra no ba, osofu fitam no ba ye kusini. Oye no, oye bibiri oton. 20 ba ku bi 20. Kitikiti wo. Adichi no o to do 500.
Wow.
Ave adomo ko ya. Ye hwene di. No mo moteto, no mo yesi, o mo yesi. Ave chinu was starting in Sanu.
Osofu na start in Sanu.
Osofu na start in Sanu. Bisa mo afi. Ehu. Adinti na banasa.
Abenta onu mesa.
Baby okwa ya ade a watch.
Baby okwa ne se ade na oche no. Ai se okokwa ya na.
Ode na se ne ko.
Odoko. Yes, kana ban ni wiye de. Ni efi. Nti so omo ba konfunche so o ya de mo wa. Ani se ye ya na wa ya de. Wadwe fiso
nyame na aye
nti obehu achinu na kira wase na so na aye de aya pasa oh buntu ase pi
mention honum. So we talk about the pastors and why the pastors publicly shame spirituality and shame our God and the priests, but yet they sneak behind. So I was asking, why do they even help them in a way? And they said sometimes when they come, human beings, they come so convincingly saying their stories, and sometimes they tell it to an extent that you'll be compelled to want to help them. Now, when they help them and they start seeing results, that is when they change. That there are certain things they give to pastors that when the pastors start demanding money, they can shake their white hankies. This is a tissue, so I'm just using it as an example. So sometimes they can do things for the pastors that they shake the white hanky and say, bring $100, bring $500, bring $1,000, bring $10,000, whatever amount they quote, you bring it. You wouldn't even know why you are paying it, but before you know it, you're paying it. And most of the miracles and all of that they do in the churches are actually all from the gods. And he was citing an example that there's a pastor who came around here who started selling oil, small, just a little bottle, about $50. So it moved from $50 to about $100 or $200, and people were patronizing it. And he started doing so many miracles and what have you, and people were all over the place patronizing him. But now, when you ask where the pastor is, he's become a drunk. So I'm like, wait a minute, why has the pastor become a drunk? And they're telling me the reason the pastor has become a drunk is because the pastor did not do what the God demanded him to do. So the God now decides to punish the pastor for not giving reverence, for not giving respect, for not doing what they were supposed to do. So these stories, we've heard them over and over, how many times the pastors go behind and go and take these powers, these gods, and use them for their way. See, I mean, it's become ridiculous now, but because we know what actually they are doing behind the scenes. Inti yambra nanado. Inti nana abazi dam no to me. Nana abrabo bona.
There be dam.
Na on the to me bia wo moye. Ibi a to me or you to me a oyiska. Ibi o to me a oseyerba. Ibi o to me a oma adwen wo disua aze adwen wo do.
Sem papa. No no so na dwuma ya ne se. Wode yare ba. Otimi sayare no. Otimi so bo ankrofo. Ama obibi eyeye. Ne mo schedule de.
No, man can schedule. On schedule.
On ye. For say ni ade ya wo ye ni ade. On ye bi.
On ye autonomous.
Na mom autonomous nso. Ono di on pe. Ono po di on pe so be bo ko di ni di.
All right then.
Isi onche, mo abeto so ko mo ni kire fi. Ona na sa de lobby.
Afenso sabe kafra. Mema de emma ye hu yakono. Obehu obi na girl bi o wa akwafa bi na wo. Be me bi wo ho. Na o de edura to no so. Sabe wo be kono na wo be ma agina so. No so de ba. Obe sa wo yale.
O ye nkofu be sa kwa ba sa na.
Yeah.
Omu fi Mankasim iskado.
Into on mente a story ni. Into on them no abasim no see oko bi na
yire wo kaso for your driver. Into on ga no see ni pe. Say na ga no so wo boy wo wa. Ono ne hihya wo. Enti ohunu no obi sa no. No so nya na hwe. Enti one boy na je ne normal. Oba ne normal. Oji no ma be paper ti front one boy no so different one buy. No se me show phone. O show na girl no ma was. Say na ne girlfriend na girl no. Nti o kwa no dey duru ye boy no.
Oh.
Na ne be message so ma de ne brem wa.
Nti okay ne be message okay and erection right? Wow.
Say me ntimi money dey pay.
Oh no man money is in on the deposit. I hear myself.
Ne be message so.
So
it's a boy na kan nipa 7.
No, I saw one.
Ah, master one was
wow. So I was asking what can Nana Brabo Bona do? What is his gift? What does he bring to the table? Because I want to know. I'm not playing around. Now Vijayama got to vet you. So she's telling me that he's actually a healer, and he heals all diseases and also help people who are in situations. So the gift is actually into healing, and he's literally a healer, life giver. Also give children when you need children and all of that. That there are instances that men actually, and okay, she said that he's not into money rituals, he's not into blood money, anything dark spirituality. When I say dark, it's not black, you understand, that negative, anything evil. He's not into anything evil. He just wants to help and wants to better the lives of people. That there's a situation where a young man, a driver actually, met another lady, and got attracted to the lady. So had a conversation with the lady, not knowing the lady had a boyfriend. So when the driver took the number of this lady, the boy also came and saw that the girlfriend's number is on the driver's phone. So the boyfriend now went somewhere to do a spell, to cast a spell on him. And when the spell was done, this driver that just met this lady had an erection, and the erection wouldn't go down. Listen, it might sound interesting for men who have problem with erection, but this is nothing interesting, because when you have a constant erection, it's not physical, it's spiritual. So just recently, Kweku was even testifying that just recently they came around and they had that thing done, reversed. So this spell is a spell that makes your erection have a permanent erection, and she's able to reverse the spell. So I would safely say that they are able to reverse spells and reverse certain things that are invoked in other people, or spells that are cast on other people. So that's one of the gifts of the God in this house. And see, enyi nana di nkomo to them yetina ya kase makasa were mama we na wa brebre enyi nana di nkomo enyi tena ho wo di nkomo mpedem bisa sente mbisa dem
se otimi ko no wa bompai na wo di ama no te se dem no to aye kase ya na wo bompai na wo di ama
nto oba oyi no ho banyu betena ho
oyi no wo nsunu mu
atakaye wo nsunu
oyi no ho
to oyi no da yimpa na
oyi no te se nipa
on baabo on dana
on dabi otimi dani abofra otimi dani opani otimi dani chese onu asta bia opebia otimi dani otimi so dani owo na ogunsu no mu
odana owo na ogunsu
ayi kobi owe your friend ochire ben and ayi oni otimi dan no
aba sorry
ma da
Otime yinu te say ye nyina ye wa nipa na watama wonma wa na be bon komo na oko
wow obezum komo
oni mi wonma be tra bon komo obala na mu be bia mo be tra yala oni wonma bon komo sa osofrei dabuase oboni na bon komo
okay
dabuase
mo takwa de dabuase
takwa de dabuase
eh
ofia na okome papa ni oba ni ntunche obonturase no so na akobon komo
not ochima abosum so
ochima ti said
wotukon
okwa apro
Oba
be kache
obana no we fi kokoko bi
ko ti sa wa
moyin
do oba na be ma no
moba
oba kache papa so hwe ni ye no hwe ni ya ohu ni ye ndi boso me ni wol mai no wol mai fi.
Listen, I'm getting too much information. So I'll in the Bible reminding. So I was having a conversation that does she have conversations with the God? Like, does she have a sit down and do they talk? Do they have conversations and all of that? And she's saying yes, they have conversations that they really talk. You want to check if it's still recording?
Echo.
Yeah.
Have you passed an hour?
Yes.
An hour 25 minutes.
Wow.
It isn't come up out.
Oh, yeah.
It isn't come up out. So I was asking that if he comes around and have a sit down. She's saying yes. He comes around. They have sit down. They have conversations. That's it. They have conversations and all of that. So I was like, okay, because I obviously I want to know what they talk about, but that will come later. And listen, we've taken a lot of time. I think I should even end it. But it's interesting, I'm learning. So he said that sometimes when they go to the river and they pour libations and do the rituals, he reveals himself. Sometimes he can show up as a young child. Sometimes he can show up as an elderly man, elderly woman. He can transform into any personality that he wants to show up. Sometimes you can even meet him there and you won't even know. And other times too, he can reveal himself as a snake. And while thinking, our mother was like, she won't sit down at all. When the snake comes, she's gone. Whatever you came to say, that is none of her business. She is gone. If you can't turn into a human being, she has no business having conversations with the snake. So I was like, oh, that's interesting. So and our mother is telling us that when the father was around, sometimes he comes to him and they have conversations. He actually comes and sit down and have conversations. They talk. That there was one time he came and he said he's from Dabuase. Dabuase is around Takrady, is when you're on your way to the western regions. So he comes all the way and comes to have conversation with him, and he goes to the other neighboring places like that. And he was like, this particular God was actually fair and all of that. It's kind of like, no, it's not me. Doesn't look like me, none of that. But he was trying to go there. And they have talked that one time he actually came and said that he warned the grandfather or the father that he should be careful. He should be careful. He should be very careful. And this warning came roughly like a month ago, and he died 2 weeks ago. So the God actually saw what was going to happen, so told him to be careful. Into ornamental so into bosom no catcher into them bosom no all catcher no you careful no them bosom ya na bosom fufu yeah no catcher I've been no into no common
no uncommon papa
awo papa no uncommon
dabi
into I've been to all catcher no onhwe no hu ye
ene ntimi hu adire anam so ase onhwe ni yi
na abesim no we oyere
wan yale nso
1 year nto bia nhu as going to
dabi
na cheno onye konfo na otumu babet na onye no bonkomo no
oda no nipa
wow
oba no ma ni nsu one ne di amane na se obesra no to oba no ka che ne se kuro no onhwe ni yi ona kasa so onye na adwe no papa de wanhwe ni yi a o hu ni yi na adwe no asesa na adwe no nto ma na adwe ni yeden ejira faako
no che na nzama koda
ompe
abosom onyima no ompe
oh mama bi koso ansam sama akoso a ompe
oh wow
no ba no beti ne woni ofiri anso no ko ni nu oba ni nche
wow
papa no mu yata oba ba ko ne be ma ba ko
nti na ata no ko ne nche
nti ata no so no sa ko ni nche
oba ba ma no di kan ba ni nche akote
nti o ko oba ni nche no ofiri ya no ko oba ni nche ono no so ko te ne woni wo ho so wa adwene ye de wa adwene ye ko no mo fa hwekure no mo ahwe ni ya mo hu ni yi
wow
no okoi poso mi po wo ma wanya
wow
1 year
so listen, it's very possible that you pass these gods all the time and you don't even know they are gods. It's very possible they come and visit you. You don't even know there's a God that is visiting you. Somebody show up at your door, you show disrespect, you show a lot of things. Sometimes you never know who you're talking to. Just as they told us in the Bible, the lies they told us anyway, that Abraham had angels come and visit, Jacob had angels come and visit. That is how the God is still happening in our day. The gods are showing up all the time. This is the life of our fathers. That actually, her father had a visitation, like I was saying, from one of the gods, from actually the God here. And he came and warned him that he should be very careful and he should put his eyes down and manage the affairs of the village well, because there are certain things that he, the God, doesn't like. He should be very careful. And actually went to the twin sister who is in Bontrace and also warned her that they should be careful. They should bring their eyes down and manage the affairs of this community well. And I think they said after the warning, it didn't take even up to a month, but they don't actually know what really went wrong. But it didn't take a month, and he passed on. He wasn't sick. Nothing happened. He just passed on and joined the ancestor. Inti what happened to me no? I will put me bisa. O papa there. I be some no be. I put my friend soon bisa na.
I mean, let me a friend. Let me bisa. Now so let me fra. Eh. Just in penifunu efi aka no. Say there won ma we wununti. Efi wo wo. Into a fra omba.
Efi aka bosom. And this is a friend omba.
Oh.
Not sure on ye there or do no mum on the Morris since in a way. Wow.
Then in your balance, so no, so your comfort. No, also, quite sorry. No, Bush will be no go.
Oh. Also, in the bosom nation. The I saw no kind of bosom no go. Not yet. I bosom won't to know any is a go crowd.
Go, except 4 years.
So I was asking that if this is the situation, can she invoke the spirit of the father so that she can ask the father what actually went wrong, what actually happened that he died? And she's saying she cannot do that because he was not supposed to die. The gods did not have it in plan that he dies anytime soon. But because of what happened, that is how come he ended up dying. And that it means that failed or the grounds has become unholy. The grounds have been polluted, and that there has to be several cleansings to appease the God before he can reveal himself again because of what has happened. So that is the situation on the ground that even the sister, the twin sister, she used to be a priest, and she decided that she wouldn't be priest anymore. She wants to go and go to the church and start worshiping Jesus. And the minute she started doing that, she became crippled. And to date, she's still crippled. Jesus is not able to heal her. Nothing is happening. She is still crippled because she refused to be a priest to the God. And I was just saying that we shouldn't play with the powers that be. We shouldn't play with what they are able to do and what they do around us. Listen, I've taken too much time. I've had so many questions. There's still so many questions I want to ask because if the gods come home to have conversations, and I'm interested, I'm keen to want to know what they talk about, to want to know what questions they ask the God. These are questions that I really want to do. And I know as time goes on and I keep traveling around, it's very possible that I might come back. We would actually find answers to these questions.
Oh, my ready uncle for a child say no one say. Oh, I'll go away. Oh, as I say for emergency. I'm not an answer, some sober for say Japan, some of us so Bruno Vince and one question said that they just. I blah so tie in such be said they should say. I could answer. Only this or Dimoja Bajinsa. Take the labor for that so peer for that so peer. More since I go Sassacran, Sakunin, Satongo, Etia, home from when emergency. Nana sans emergency, a blah emergency. Nana, I assume when emergency, and I was some ponsa. Or yeah, about emergency, or boyfriend and emergency, only the emergency. Or chibagency, don't do emergency, such in Saya, your Sapusuban, Sakonga cousins. See and so. Nana school emergency. Tinara, the from my yabony, a brave one, and a sansa. Nada bay, nay, consider of a batcher with you.
Kojo Mensa.
Hey, pay.
Papa Dabi.
I was a man's bumper, I won't point the penny through, Legend Sadie. I will never go Bakojo. Nada bay on any nearby. Mommy, if we are. I am here for mammy. One now won't cost you. Or by ya, won't crown a bonnet. I said a year, a groovy, a backwasam. A black one, where do my way and Munga wetchy? Where do my trotting? Baby, I will be called Bessie when you want film. So, Subani be a baba word man on the Pacumun if you are. Mamma will need check, mama wo penya mama wo kwatente mama wo awoden was kasam emu ano mama akokora poso wo yirenom wo kununum wo mofra wo nyina wo nkwaso wo abusu nyina wo nkwaso de be musu na esan mo mpengu abia ya bana ye wo nyina ye nkwaso mofra wo akwantum na wo nkwaso otafa bo se obetko wo so ye manasi mesi wo adwuma ye nkwaso da abia bana mo so mo de mo pemu ne mo ye atutana mu biala beba wo adwuma mo ye musu no mo yi wo mfimo eniboni biala be se wo adwuma eye blajo ni ma me efua wo ye nkokora na mmerewa ansa na obekọ wo awakọ wo adwuma ya wo ye embie kwese ne ba biala mo de bekọ no woni nkunimdi twamanya aba
ya
ai so ya he na kasa
nti me de ele
wo so betimi wo beba mpa ya na so beka wana
okay hey tempen mama ka bia
o de obeka bia
nti manfra wana
wala kasa wo fie bosu ndi ya wo akonya bia da wo fie bia betimi afre e wo de abompa obi amadwuma me ye enye nkoso ma me ndwuro obi no ho ma jinsa me pele po
the school pa na moko ya she say ba pasa
mo ma de ka enya kaka
yes ya chudi ampon kwa me papa ya da wasi e chonsa e monsa si ya de cho enjensa si ya sama ya kan de ya da se ye no minsa da sase mami ye monsa timi we twen ni na ye monsa mo nyizim mo di moja na nanum ye monsa na baba ye na me da wasi na ase na maba monsa da wasi de mpo no ama ma adwen waka mo ho wabom mama makukudu am due to anamoni a yeti onya meka sikro mebusie nyina da wona so na ofe jan ma ye da wasi na frama ye da wasi na nanum we twen we hia ye da wona si yes ombo ebusie ombo bibiara orugbo enenu ombo bibimani na ebibimana mba awon wa amanene awon wa Ghana awon po wor be fie na nanum yes ombo bibiara wonyo bibiara zefo wonyo bibiara pese obi biara wa adesuam orusua na nanum akwan orusua da obeye konfo obeye nesin na nanum ombo no mani ansa wonmo won boafo obi obobo won na edwuma wa akoso ade yenu adze hu nyina de na nanum zin be peja man sen na bohu de ampa ye na nanum kono ye nokor yesre won kan ye ho be me ye bofom won fa nchen be me yan ko ne ye won kire me ye nyim won bu ne no de nkire won boyen de mo de ye nyim so wa ye we si ye wa ye kraboshe nananum de won ase nana ma beton na do me fiere kai mo ho chiro be ma me hye bia mo bozi na aka de me ye ho bi na ma aba ma me nche ma me sa agimatu nana bra
bona
nana obra ye bona nana obra bona nana ma sami me da ase
ayiko
ya enti obo wi an wo ka ayiko me sian kaka
anane be yi